Well, good morning, my friends, and happy hump day. Who did I miss? We've been in here chatting away. Hello, Dolores. I saw Retro Girl. Cool Gamer made it in. Summer Thunder. Walking Dead's creeping in. I saw Nufflin. Let me see. DT sitting in the chair next to me. Celeste. Jules has to go outside and meet the propane man. Jules, you're never in that big of a hurry to see your husband. So what does he think about you running out the door to see the propane man? Pictures or it didn't happen, Jules. What's going on with the propane man? What's going on? What kind of hoses are you pulling out there, Jules? Inquiring minds want to know. Hello, Lala, where you been? Dolores said, I saw our OJ short this morning. Yes, we have got some problems with some birds outside. And he does this thing, Lip Lock calls it chittering. And they are messing with him. They get on the tomato cages and then they get on the light fixture outside. And then he does this, I can't make the noise. I've got to get him on video doing it. And the other night there was a cat outside. And I can't even describe the noise he was making. But he went from the bedroom window to the patio door, scratching at the front door, anything to keep that cat away. But at least it wasn't the propane man. I'm going to mark myself safe today from the propane man. But is the propane man safe from Jules? That is the question. What do you all think? All right, let's get to it. Let's tell everybody happy hump day and get to what is going on because it blew my mind yesterday.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Oh, it's hump day. We are almost to Friday. That just never gets old. Never gets old. Before I get to the comments, I want to bring up our special friend, Trevor. And I want everyone to tell our friend Josh at the lab happy birthday. First, let's welcome Trevor. And good morning, my friend Trevor. How are you?
I am doing great. Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Oh, just making it. You know, I tell you what, it is Wednesday. It's cold. I'm sure Tennessee, I mean, you guys pretty much are the same latitude and longitude as we are, even though you have a lot more mountains. Public Service of Oklahoma is loving it because you're running the heat in the morning and the air conditioner in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You can't break. So
yeah,
I just
it's that way here.
Facebook, our friend Josh at the lab, who we know has been under immense heat and immense pressure. He's done amazing work with Michael Vaughn's case. He's done amazing work with Summerwell's case. So before we get to the bones and gravy, let's tell our friend Josh from the lab, if you're not subbed, go sub up. Happy birthday from CLL. Happy birthday, Josh, and keep up the good work.
Amen.
Keep up the good work. And I think we all are going to have a little more on our plates, especially if you're covering the Michael Vaughn case, because Stacey Wandra was released from federal custody. That is right, my friends. One of the suspects has been released. Now, remember, he was not being held in connection with Michael, but he is one of the suspects. Here are the suspects, as Chief Huff let us know. Sarah Wandra in the yellow shirt, looking like the Hamburglar over there on the left-hand side of your screen. Underneath is her husband. Well, they're broke up now, Stacy Wandra. On the right side, Adrian, and beneath him, old B-Dog, Brandon Shirts. Now, what do you think about that, Trevor?
I mean, it's just, make it make sense is what comes to my mind. You know what I mean? Just like, what do you even say to that?
Well, when it comes to the corrections department, in cooperation with law enforcement, which they are law enforcement, it's like, we went through this with the Old Mogi 4. One hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing, so they will release somebody for good behavior and stuff and not really play the tape to the end, if you know what I mean. But we are waiting on the grand jury because the DA does have the probable cause and they are expecting charges. So at least we know that as much as the system moves slow, it is moving. Of course, we know grand juries are secret. They're held in private. So they're not going to tell me when it's going to be. I would love it, but they aren't going to tell me. Right, Trev?
Nope.
Wish they'd let us in on their little secrets. Don't you, Trev?
Hey, just give us a little slip of paper, hey, it's going to be on this day.
Yeah, I can keep a secret. Well, unless I'm in the box wine. Then I'm like, hey, can you keep a secret?
Guess what?
Guess what? Trevor, you're not going to believe this. All right. So let's get to the comments from the last show. The last show, Justin was kind enough to spare some of his time and come on. And we were speaking about, well, not just the case, but we also in the beginning spoke about another creator who has been rather nasty to Brandy. Well, here's the thing, Brandy is used to it. She really is. There's been other creators that have been nasty to her because we have learned a lot. For one, in this case, we have learned that law enforcement always knows way more than YouTube. Did you know that, Trevor?
I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but
YouTubers blamed Tyler and Brandy over and over. Even said Brandy came home from work and had to have helped Tyler. And they quickly scattered like roaches at Ben Hill when the police said there are many persons of interest, but the parents are not a focus.
Well, I guess when you say most of them scattered, some people still like to just lie.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Well, let's get to the comments. And then we're going to talk about what has been going on in the world of the Wandras. Because there's some things since Stacy is out, and I'm sure he's checking the YouTube streets. I have a very good idea of who he is on YouTube, but I'm going to keep that to myself unless I'm in the box wine. And I think there's some things that we need to discuss today, Trevor, to jog old Stacy's memory. So let's start with the comments, shall we?
Let's do it.
One blessed mama said, "Oh, Brandy, I could barely listen to your broken heart. You are so strong and full of grace, beautiful inside and out. I admire your courage, strength, and bravery. I'm praying for Monkey and your family, but wish I could do so much more. This has gone on for way too long, and you all have been put through so much, but you're not alone. We've got your back always and forever. We all need to protect and fight for all children to keep all children safe. I don't know Brandy, but I'm a mama, And I'm praying and fighting until Monkey gets home and gets his justice. You're stronger than most, and don't ever forget that. Don't ever listen to anyone that says anything negative towards your situation. They're utter fools. Well said.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Joy Catcher said, ooh, love the new avatar, Joy Catcher. Sending out prayers for Monkey and his amazing family. Someone posted a great quote today. Stars shine brightest in the dark. My heart is full when Brandy shares, and I'll go whenever she feels comfortable to speak. It's so kind of those who respect her, Monkey, and law enforcement. The darkest nights can produce the brightest stars. My question to Daisy is if she ever stops to look up. Thinking before we speak brings peace and produces much more good than rumors and acts of revenge. It's when people stop being offended by this talk that would bring more heartache, in my opinion. I'm glad this beautiful family has good around them. Keep shining bright, Brandy. You're beautiful inside and out. To the sick perps and those with valuable information, may you look up as well. I was choking up reading that. That was absolutely beautiful. Wild Cherry said Daisy doesn't belong in true crime. She has seen an opportunity to build subs and jumped on it. She needs to understand true crime isn't a place for that. She gets on panel and screams and cackles while Sherry is almost muted and constantly talks. I'm not being mean, but this isn't the place. We are dealing with victims. And I have to agree with that. I said yesterday on the show that I'm really not concerned with Daisy anymore. I'm not concerned. I said my piece. We know what she's done. I did call out this comment to a woman that frequents our chats quite a bit and acts like Miss Innocent when she comes in. She didn't like being called out yesterday, and I didn't even use her name. She said, I don't think you are being rude to Brandy at all in the first place. Really? Mind you, it's opinion only, but Trevor, would you think that it was rude?
I think rude is putting it nicely. I think it was outright gross and disrespectful.
Talk about kicking somebody when they're down. It was even pointed out to me that this creator said, why doesn't she coddle Candace the way she does Brandy? Because Brandy's not a suspect. I'm going to say it louder for those in the back. Brandy is not a suspect. You understand? I know you guys do. I'm not yelling at you. Let's look at this.
I'd like to note that after a year-long thorough investigation, the family is not a focus of our investigation at this point. They are continuing to fully cooperate with us in all of our efforts from the investigation standpoint. Today, as members of this community,
They're not a suspect. They're not a focus of the investigation.
You know, I'm not going to really get into too deep on the persons of interest, but I will tell you there are multiple. Okay.
Are there any people that you interviewed or searched that have been non-cooperative?
Yeah, there have been.
So that's the chief himself saying there were multiple persons of interest. He wasn't going to get into any names at the time, but he spilled the beans roughly a year ago after they were excavating the backyard of the Wanderers. Brandy put the post up saying a year ago her heart broke all over again. Well, hey, Tiffany, where you been, girl? Hey, Corey, missed you. So the revelation came out last year that they were excavating the backyard of the Wandras. It also came out that they believe that at one time his remains were back there. I'm not a scientist. I don't know how they determine that. Thank you, Zach Walker, for gifting 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Look at that. Thank you so much, my friend. I love when you all grow the family. Let's get our umbrellas. And yes, some people are just not going to give it up. Okay. Also, about a year ago is when the crazy, well, I say crazy, protests were going on. Everything was crazy with the Quentin Simon case. Well, Dolly was there outside of the house, and Dolly has been very kind to the Vaughn family. I mean, as far as I know, I have never heard him say anything that wouldn't be beneficial as far as advocating for Michael. Well, this clip was sent to me, and it's a creator that I don't know her views now, but she threw a lot of shade, especially at Brandy. So look at this with me.
Wonder if Dolly's little stunt will change Brandy's mind about him. Come on now. Brandy's only looking for the next big thing to help her out for the moment. She don't care about long-term goals. Or she'd find her son by now. Or maybe that's the point. Wonder if
Listen, there is no way in hell Brandy and Tyler don't want to find Michael.
What a ridiculous thing to say. Just absolutely, I mean, just stupid. That's just stupid. It is. To say that is stupid. To think it is stupid. To say it is even more stupid. And to believe it is just ignorant.
Mm-hmm. And hey, everybody's welcome to their own opinion, correct? But in the face of law enforcement saying there are multiple persons of interest, and here they are, and this is what we're doing. Inch at a time, excavating this backyard, and then they say, this is how far the home they were searching is from the Vaughn family home. But now Stacy's out. That doesn't mean he's going to be out for good. It doesn't mean he's going to be out for long. We don't know what the grand jury's going to do or when they're going to convene. So let's go back a year and talk about when they started excavating.
We also continue to follow breaking news in Fruitland. Fruitland police are searching a home in connection to the disappearance of Michael Vaughn. Here's a map of the area we're talking about. You can see the home police are searching in proximity to where Michael's home is. Our crews on the scene say it's only about 4 minutes away. Our Abby Davis has been there throughout the day today, and she is live on the scene to update us with the latest information.
4 minutes away. And also what we know now is that Brandon has spoke to not just JLR, but other people and explained a very, very busy day of what appears that they were looking for a child. They had a lot of crazy, crazy errands. And this is supposedly after Sarah had just been in the ER the night before. Seems like everything was pre-planned. To me, anyway.
Abby?
Doug, law enforcement have been out here since Friday after they received a very credible tip. That is what the police department told us, suggesting that Michael Vaughn's possible human remains are in this nearby neighborhood, specifically this backyard over here. You can see, let's take a little bit of a walk. The road has been closed to through traffic since Friday evening. You can come over here, you can see this crime scene tape. And then Continuing walking, you can see there is they're excavating the entire yard. We were told about 3 to 4 inches. You can see that dump truck there. They have been taking piles of dirt out since about 11 a.m. this morning. Where they're taking it, they said they're taking it to an off-site location where it will be processed. Now, like I said before, police obtained a search warrant and began working Friday night. They have plans to dig 3 to 4 feet deep. You can see a backhoe just went in and it's being used to dig up the topsoil. Now, Huff said in no way that they believe what they are doing now will contaminate any sort of evidence that they find, if they do find any. Now, crews involved in the search include Idaho State Police, Fruitland Police, Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Fruitland Public Works, and the Fruitland Fire Department. 2 canine dogs, were also here earlier this morning. They have since left, but crews are telling me that they are very hopeful and that they are grateful for all of the community support.
We just have to continue to process this, and if it yields, it yields. You know, I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword. Do I hope? Not really. You know, I hope that Michael is still alive and that we can bring him home safely to his family. But we also know that we need to find resolution to this case, and you know, we need to just follow the leads and follow the credible information, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Crews have been out here since about 10 a.m. this morning, and they did take a brief break around lunchtime. There were some possible safety concerns for the crews regarding utility lines and such, but you can see now they have since resumed. Now, a family spokesperson said the family thanks the community for all of their supports, but that they're requesting privacy at this time. Now, as far as a timeline, we don't really have one. Crews are expected to work until it gets dark tonight, but the police chief did say that they will most likely be out here tomorrow, continuing to work. Doug.
Abby, thank you for the update. And, you know, I think.
And again, we know now that they have evidence that his remains were at one time in the backyard, and also that dogs hit on something at Brandon's mother's house. Now, even though Brandon's mother made a little joke out of it, she said, "Oh, I didn't know I had a leaky toilet till the dogs came in and I fed the officers lunch and they prayed with me." No, they didn't eat your macaroni and cheese. No. And those dogs do not pick up on leaky toilets. It doesn't work that way. To Boston Mom says, "Brooks, are you still interested in that white car for Michael?" I am. 100% I am. And I can't wait to hear where that fits into the puzzle. Mermaid said, "That beeping sound makes my stomach hurt." Imagine Brandy and Tyler walking outside and they can hear it and they know what's going on. The police had to tell them, "Do not come down here. Do not come down here." Imagine when you can hear that from where you live.
I mean, unimaginable.
It is. Well, Sarah herself spoke. This is just an article. The probable cause has been sealed from her initial arrest. Now, they dropped the charges without prejudice, meaning they can pick them up at any time. We do anticipate more charges, not because I'm on the case, but because that's what the police are reporting. According to court documents, police forced entry into the Wandra's home around 9:30 p.m. Friday. This was last year, where they found Sarah in the living room. She was detained and read a copy of the search warrant. When I got to the portion that read murder, she said, "Did you just say murder?" multiple times. A Fruitland police officer wrote in the affidavit. She also said, "I have never murdered anyone." Officials said Sarah maintained that she definitely did not kill that boy and said the Most High God already told me who did it. She reportedly told police, "Oh, wow. The Most High God just told me that Stacy was the one that killed him and buried him in the yard of the neighbor's house." Now we're going to get to that. The neighbors were searched. He was not there. When asked later to show police where the boy was buried, according to the affidavit, she told police of a spot near the entry of her residence and said Stacy had buried him in the backyard by the shed. Very interesting about the shed, because the shed was a new addition to the backyard after Michael Vaughn was abducted. Police said by that point they had begun hand digging a portion of the yard based on information received. It wasn't clear when or why police had spoken with Stacy Wandra. Sarah was arrested and told police, "God just told me that Stacy was the one who did it," adding that she knew the body was in the neighbor's yard because that's what Stacy just told me. She then corrected herself and said that's what God told her. She allegedly reiterated to police that she had nothing to do with Michael's disappearance, even though she was the one driving around all day with Brandon and Adrian. Okay. She said her husband buried Michael in the backyard by the shed, but wasn't the one who actually harmed the boy. She said instead that a man identified only as Adrian had been the one that had done it, and he was scared to tell anyone. Well, the Adrian she is talking about is the one on the top right. That is Adrian. He most definitely was there. He most definitely lived with them. This is B-Dog Shirts. He said, yes, he's responding to this woman, Hope. Adrian did love me and was my friend, but I was not his when I should have been. Fockers, we got into a fist fight the night before, and he took off with my NHRA team jacket. Look, I'm not even going to touch that one today. I was robbed and kicked out into the streets where I come from and belong. That is all. 100, love you, world. They find him unharmed because if I find out anything bad happens, I will kill the individual or individuals responsible. They will be pew-pewed. On God, working with Fruitland PD now. Be advised, I pack pew-pew. Lawyers are hired, multiplayer, as in many in excess of 100. Okay, so Brandon makes 0 cents in a hat.
Yeah, that's like trying to give me a headache reading that.
Yeah, I need an interpreter. I need someone that speaks stupid.
I was going to say, speak stupid is what it was.
So, Stacy has been released. Now, it has been verified he is not in the neighborhood. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I don't know if it's rumor or what, but as we know, Brandy and Tyler's little girl, her nickname is Buggy. The Wandras have a cat that at one time, according to their TikTok, they were calling Buggy. So you can't tell me they weren't eyeing this family. Would you find it odd, Trevor, if someone named their cat Trevor?
Yeah.
Thank you. First, at 4, one of the people police believe was involved in Michael Vaughn's disappearance was released from federal custody last Thursday. Less than 2 weeks ago, Stacy Wandra was sentenced to 21 months after pleading guilty to unlawful possession of a firearm. Important to note, this charge was unrelated to Vaughn's disappearance. As we previously reported, Wandra had already served 17 months and was expected to serve another 4 in the Ada County Jail under the U.S. Marshal Service custody. But today, I learned the Bureau of Prisons directed the Marshal Service to release Wandra because he finished his sentence. The Marshal Service told me Wandra served 21 months, constituting credit for time served before trial, as well as nearly 2 years of good time credit.
2 years of good time credit. Now, we've talked about this in other cases, like in Oklahoma. That sicko in Henrietta that did the unthinkable and unspeakable in that house of horrors, they let him out early. He served 85% for good behavior. Good hygiene was one of them. It's safe to say Stacy was not let out for good hygiene. Okay?
He's now on supervised release. And this week marks 1 year since Fruitland police dug in the Wandra's backyard searching for little Michael Vaughn's remains. Michael went missing from his Fruitland neighborhood and near the Wandra's home in July of 2021. Fruitland police submitted a case to the Payette County prosecutor this summer that they say involves Stacy and his wife Sarah, as well as 2 other people.
And we know who they are. So he has served his sentence for the pew-pew charge, and now he's out. He was supposed to be in until February, which I thought, okay, good, because between now and then, they'll have the grand jury, but he is under supervised release, whatever that means. Do you want to weigh in on that, DT driver? How do you supervise someone who's been released from U.S. Marshal custody? Do you think the U.S. Marshals are supervising him? Fruitland?
He's probably on federal probation.
Federal probation is what DT's thinking. Well, since Stacy's out, I'm going to drop the link. I'd love for him to come up. It was said that he didn't know anything about Michael's disappearance. Maury calls that a lie, because on July 28th, 2021, he shared an article about Monkey from the Argus Observer. On August 1st, 2021, Stacy, you changed your profile picture to that of Michael Vaughn. Is this ringing any bells, Stacy? Trevor, how can you claim to not know a child was missing when you change your profile picture to that of the missing child?
Well, you can't. And clearly it shows that, to me, it seems like you're hiding something. And you're sitting back with information by just pretending that you're just clueless. And, you can play the, I don't know, card when you're 5 years old, but it doesn't work anymore when you're a big boy. And it's time to, face big boy consequences for your big boy charges or crimes.
You got that right. You got that right. Matter of fact, on their refrigerator, that's his estranged wife, Sarah, circled right there. Thank you, Google. I didn't do it. That is Michael's flyer.
Now, why would you leave such a beautiful person like that?
Yeah. Oh, and Brandy is in here. I don't know if Brandy knows about the tree in Kingsport for missing children. Michael is on the tree, Brandy. I'm going to put the link up if anybody wants to come up. Brandy wants to come up. She doesn't have to. And Trevor saved a Michael ornament for you, and he's going to mail it to you.
Yeah, I should be able to get it out tomorrow. Put it in the mail tomorrow.
Okay. So she knows that's coming. All right. So, Stacy, I want you to pay close attention to something. I really want you to pay close attention. This is what you're suspected, allegedly, because I'm not law enforcement, but this is what you are suspected. This is what you have allegedly taken from the Vaughn family. Beautiful little monkey.
Monkey.
He's fighting with his shadow. Giddy up.
That's him playing with his daddy, Stacy. That's him playing with his daddy. Walking Dead said, this is not fair. Snow said, where is this baby? Where is this baby? Mermaid is talking to you, Stacy Wandra. How could you take this sweet boy away from his family? Please tell me how. Now, Stacy's been in the pokey, so he may not know everything that's been going on. I'm sure the U.S. Marshals briefed him, but I'm going to give him a few friendly reminders today. Okay, here's one. A couple of days after Michael disappeared, abducted, Sarah took this video of Stacy. Sarah also says that Stacy was responsible for the burial.
This thing is infoliated.
There is now, because I just made that shit up.
Babe, what'd you say?
I feel exfoliated.
Exfoliating is exfoliating your skin.
Oh, well, I feel infoliated then.
There's no such thing as infoliated.
There is now, because I just made that shit up.
I wonder why Sarah made it a point to take a video of him cleaning himself up. Do you have any thoughts on that, Trev?
It's really weird. It's just sick. I mean, to be able to see people just enjoy themselves. I mean, if you're listening, if you watch, how can you watch that video of that sweet little boy, knowing what you've done or allegedly done, and live with yourself? How can you lay your head on your pillow at night knowing what you did? Because it's absolutely disgusting.
How could you? I don't think you had a Serta perfect sleeper in the federal jail. How do you do it? How do you lay your head down? So let's catch Stacy up.
At 10, I'm Doug Petcash. The search for Michael Vaughn continues. Michael went missing from his neighborhood in Fruitland in July of 2021. He was just 5 years old at the time. Law enforcement has spent the last year and a half investigating. But the Fruitland police chief says a credible tip led investigators to a home near Michael's neighborhood this weekend. News Channel 7's Abby Davis was at the scene for a long time earlier today. So Abby, what is the latest information in the search for Monkey?
Doug, Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff told me they haven't found Michael yet, but they recently got a search warrant for a house near the Vaughn family home. The department confirmed they are looking for Michael's possible remains, and crews started working Friday night. Here's a map of the area. You can see it on your screen now. You can see just where the home they are searching is into proximity to where Michael's home is. It's only about 4 minutes away. Huff says they're excavating the entire backyard and plan to dig 3 to 4 feet deep. It was an all-hands-on-deck operation. Idaho State Police, Fruitland Police, Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Fruitland Public Works, and the Fruitland Fire Department were at the scene. 2 human remains scent dogs were also there for a little while. Huff says they've received more than 1,500 leads since Michael's disappearance, and that they're determined to find Michael and bring some closure to his family.
We just have to continue to process this, and if it yields, it yields. You know, I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword. Do I hope? Not really. You know, I hope that Michael is still alive and that we can bring him home safely to his family. But we also know that we need to find resolution to this case. And, you know, we need to just follow the leads and follow the credible information, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Huff says they took all of the dirt that has been excavated so far to an off-site location where it will be processed. Crews wrapped up for the day around 6 o'clock tonight, but the area remains taped and closed. Doug?
So Abby, does Chief Huff know how long this part of the process will take?
Not at this time. He said it will take a while to get done and that it's really just arduous work, but that they're confident in the information that they've received and they'll be back tomorrow.
And we'll continue to follow it, Abby.
And as we know, it did not yield Michael, but through processing the dirt, they know that at one time Michael was in that backyard. Curse with Curiosity, thank you so much for growing the family. I'm going to give everybody a second to take a deep breath. I know this is a lot to go through. You can get your umbrellas. Think about going outside. This was a year ago, to answer Nasi Marie's question. Think about you're going outside and you know what's going on. You can hear the backing up. You can hear the beep, beep, beep. You know, at any time they can come back to the door and say, we found monkey, or we didn't find monkey. But instead, we all watched a press conference together where they said, these are the suspects. And we know that he was in that backyard at one time. I don't know if Stacy knows this, but one of his friends, I say friends, has been talking. Your buddy Brandon, that wanted Sarah to give her a baby, spoke to another creator, JLR. That interview helped law enforcement greatly. It was even on your local news where they spoke about it. I'm sure if Brandon had that day to do over again, and I don't mean the day that Monkey was abducted, I mean the day that he spilled the beans, he probably wouldn't have answered the phone in the hot tub.
Vaughn disappeared from his neighborhood more than a year ago, and today there are still so many questions surrounding what happened. Yesterday, in a news conference, Fruitland police revealed the identities of 2 more people who they believe have firsthand knowledge in Michael's abduction. And one of those people talked with a YouTube blogger just last week. Here's a look at some of that interview. Videos circulating on social media are shedding light on 3 of the 4 people Fruitland police named in connection with Michael Vaughn's disappearance.
It's actually really hard sometimes to be that vulnerable with people.
But who are these people? Just last week, YouTube blogger Jonathan Lee Riches talked with Brandon Sherliff about the then 5-year-old's disappearance. This interview came 5 days before police named Sherliff and Adrian Lucien as 2 people believed to have firsthand knowledge in Michael's abduction.
You ever hear Sarah or Stacy talk about the Vaughns or mention the Vaughns or say anything?
Never once. Not even. The only time I heard them ever mention the Vaughns is when they stopped the car that day and they said, hey, there's somebody that's missing in the neighborhood. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him or know where he went?
Oh, it gets much more interesting than that. Have you ever heard them mention the Vaughns or Michael Vaughn? No, never ever. Except for the day he disappeared when they stopped the car and they said, hey, there's a kid missing named Michael Vaughn. Do any of you know him or know where he went? And this was picked up by many, especially Avi. Avi has dissected this interview many times, where he said, we need to find a missing persons report. Lisa Durr, I agree with you 100%. Brandon wanted a missing persons report because he wanted to see if it said that anybody witnessed the abduction. If you have the description of Michael Vaughn, which they knew about it before the news release. Okay, we went through that in the last show. We can go through it again. Never ever, except for the day they stopped the car. There's a little boy that's missing, Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him or know where he went? I don't know about you guys, but if I'm cruising around the neighborhood going garage sailing or the nerdy stuff I do, if I got an Amber Alert, I wouldn't stop the car and ask my passengers, do you guys know the child or know where the child went? Would you, Trevor? Would you assume that anybody you're hanging out with would possibly be in possession of the missing child?
Well, first off, I would hope not, and I don't think that would ever cross my mind. You know, maybe I, surround myself with decent people, but I wouldn't expect to have to ask them that.
100%. Care RN said, is Stacy back in that same house? Surely not. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. So Trevor says, I try to surround myself with good people. So you wouldn't even think to ask your friends that you've been hanging out with all day, do you guys know him or know where he went? Now, this is after he said never, ever, except. And then after that, he said we have to find the missing persons report. Now I'm going to ask you, Trev, because you're in the hot seat. Why would Brandon, B-Dog, Coors Banquet drinking in the hot tub B-Dog, want to get a hold of the missing persons report? If you haven't, yeah.
To me, it seems like you'd be seeking that report for more information. Usually when you seek out documents or information, it's because you want to know what's on it. You don't FOIA request this. I'm not saying he did that, but completely separate. You don't go request a document if you don't want to know what's on it. You don't ask for a missing persons report if you don't want to know what's on it.
100%. Maybe a witness saw what happened. Maybe they can pinpoint the car. Maybe they got a tag number. That's what he was looking for. There's nothing in the missing persons report that's going to help them any more than this.
And this is completely abnormal. I can speak from
this is the description. This is his picture. This is a picture of the shirt that he had on. This is his approximate height and weight. But he really wanted to get his hands on the missing persons report. Go ahead, Trev. I did not mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I don't know if you're playing something or just put a picture up, so I stopped talking. But speaking from, it's a different experience. But so when someone went missing, because I'm in the same region where a child went missing and people didn't know what happened, and people wanted to help, myself included, and showed up and said, "Can I help search X, Y, and Z?" Not once did I hear a single person stop and ask, do you know who this kid is, or ask for the missing persons report. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
Dolores said right here, I bet Trev didn't rush over to Ronnie Lawson and ask for Summer's missing person report. You had, you're looking for a little girl, and that's what you were looking for. Exactly. And let me tell you something. I've heard some psychopathic behavior over the years, but I've never, ever, ever heard one of the suspects say something as stupid as never, ever, except for the day he went missing, and he's asked, they stopped the car. Hey, there's a little boy that's missing. Let's go back through it. And then he wants the missing persons report. Stacy, don't you find that interesting that he said that?
To mention the bonds or say anything.
Never once. Not even. The only time I heard them ever mention the Vaughns is when they stopped the car that day and they said, "Hey, there's somebody that's missing in the neighborhood. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him or know where he went?" That was the first time that came up to my attention. And then, as far as I know, they both said, no, we don't know where he's at. Let's go help look for him.
Shurliff says he was with Sarah Wandra and Adrian the day Michael disappeared.
I was with Sarah that whole day and Adrian. And then Stacy was left home alone.
Last month, police arrested Sarah Wandra for failing to report a death. She lived in the house on Red Wing Street with her husband, Stacy Wandra. The same house police excavated and searched for Michael. Stacy Wandra is currently being held in the Washington County Jail for unrelated charges.
Although the remains of Michael Vaughn were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property.
During Thursday's news conference, Fruitland police said both Shurliff and Lucien were staying with the Wandras at the time of Michael's disappearance. Police say Lucien is believed to be floating between Ohio and California. While drinking beer and sitting in a hot tub in North Dakota, Shurliff also revealed the Wandras were religious or hid behind religion.
Hey, I thank God for you. I hope you say a prayer for me.
Like the whole time I was there, they just say, "Oh, we believe in God, and God tells me what we should do for the day and how to help people, and we believe in doing good to the community. So I don't know why they would go from that to getting caught with guns and then trying to run off with the story that definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes.
He also revealed he was not in Idaho at the time of the interview, but his family has a home here.
The police and the detectives and everything, they've been at my mom's house since I've been gone. They're beside themselves and just scared and freaking out.
As questions continue to surround...
Are we supposed to feel bad for Coors Banquet Beer Brandon, his mama, who's beside herself with fear? Or let's take a poll. Is anybody worried about his mom coming out of her skin because she's trying to protect her son? Which is, it seems to me, that's what she's doing. Let me tell you, I've lost zero sleep over Brandon's mama. None. What wakes me up is Michael Vaughn. Avi said, which car, Brandon? Y'all did a lot of car changes that day. Very interesting. That goes back to a question I was asked earlier by two Boston moms. Brooks, are you still looking at the white car? I said, yeah, you bet, because they had a lot of vehicle changes that day. Brandy said, Brandon, what kind of vehicle was the neighbor that you spoke with driving? A lot of different vehicles that day, and I mean a lot. What do you think about the different changes in vehicles?
No, any kind of case that seems weird. You hear it in other, you hear in other cases in the past of people switching vehicles and stuff. And I don't know. I just think of my daily life and how many times that we have 3 vehicles at the house because I have a mom and a sister. We all drive. Unless there's an issue with the car, we're not switching it all the time. I'm not going to the store in my car, then come back and get my mom's car to go to church, and then getting my sister's car to go pick up school supply. It doesn't work that way. And that's why it's just so weird to me when these people have all these different swapping of vehicles and it's just normal.
Yep.
And I still can't get over where he said they asked first if they knew where the kid was. You have some inkling in your mind that the person you're sitting with has an idea where this child is. That's not normal.
No. And Stacy, I'm sure you're trying to keep up with all of this. Stacy, again, they're showing your buddy Adrian on the news. He's a suspect. They made contact with him in Toledo. Brandon spoke with JLR. Listen to what he said again. And by the way, this isn't even the most damning thing he said about the day.
You ever hear Sarah or Stacy talk about the bonds or mention the bonds or say anything?
Never once. Not even. The only time I heard them ever mention the Vaughns is when they stopped the car that day and they said, hey, there's somebody that's missing in the neighborhood. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know him or know where he went? That was the first time that came up to my attention. And then as far as I know, they both said, no, we don't know where he's at. Let's go help look for him.
Sherliff says he was with Sarah Wandra and Adrian the day Michael disappeared.
I was with Sarah that whole day and Adrian. And then Stacy was left home alone.
Last month, police arrested Sarah Wandra for failing to report a death. She lived in the house on Red Wing Street with her husband, Stacy Wandra. The same house police excavated and searched for Michael. Stacy Wandra is currently being held in the Washington County.
Well, he's not being held there now. He has served his sentence. I really wish that the different departments in law enforcement would have better communication. But if he has served his sentence, all we can do is wait on the grand jury, because this probable cause, considering what they already know, right there, it's going to be tough for a jury to not come back with an indictment or several. Matter of fact, November 2nd of 2021, Sarah Wandra, Stacy's estranged wife, they broke up. She said, watch out. You are walking into traps. Guard your children. Take it from me. I promise. Why would you need to promise that, Sarah, unless you know something?
And one other thing with that Brandon interview with JLR is, and Greg can probably, better answer if this actually is a thing or if I'm just looking too much into it, but his answers, he answers like in circles. You ask somebody a yes or no question and they give you a half paragraph response.
And we've seen it in the Summer case with the McDonough interviews with Candace. You ask a question, and instead of directly answering the question, they go around Robin Hood's barn and give you 3 or 4 paragraphs of word salad, and you're like, well, you could have answered the question, but you did so much more.
Right. Like he said, did they talk about the Vaughns that day? Well, that's a yes. You could say yes or no, not, well, here and then this, and I was alone, then she was alone, and well, also this happened, and no. Why are you answering in circles? You're deflecting, and you're trying to distract from whatever is the question here. It's a yes or no question.
Yeah.
3 letters or 2.
It's easy. So yeah, they said something that day that Michael was missing, but he had to go further with it. They stopped the car and said, there's a little boy missing. His name's Michael Vaughn. Have you guys seen him, or do you know where he went? Again, if we get an Amber Alert on the phone, I'm not going to look at DT Driver and say, hey, there's a child missing. Have you seen him, or do you know where he went? Wouldn't even cross my mind. Seems that he added that in. So also, Stacy, you might want to know this. JLR also talked to your neighbors, the Starkeys. Now, let me tell you, the Starkeys have their own issues. But you might want to know that while you were on the inside, your friends weren't exactly, they didn't exactly have your back. Okay? Have you seen this, Trev?
I have.
Investigates. I am covering the Michael Vaughn case out of Fruitland, Idaho. I just spoke to Carson Starkey on the phone. He is a neighbor of Michael Vaughn, and right next door to his home, authorities are searching the property right now in connection with the disappearance of Michael Vaughn. I'm going to play the conversation I had with Carson Starkey.
And I'm just going to throw this out here. First of all, I want to address this comment by Just Me, because she's exactly right. Brandon also mentioned, and in the next show, we're going to go further into this, that they had to go to the gas station. This is after Michael was abducted. They had to go to the gas station to get milk. Now then, do Sarah and Stacy look like they were hankering for a big old frosty glass of milk? Do you think they're worried about healthy teeth and bones? What about Adrian? Do you think Adrian or Brandon were like, hey, you know what? I'm feeling like a big old bowl of Raisin Bran tonight. We better hurry up and go get some milk. But Michael drinks milk all the time. Do you find that odd, Trev?
Yeah, it's just another example to me of throwing something in there to further distance yourself from the crime, or I'll say alleged crime. You're adding things in to just say, well, I was doing this and then this and then this, because you want to make it a more believable story. You don't want to say, I went here and here, that's it, don't want to talk. So you're going to say, we did this and this and this and this. Do you believe me now? No. You can write 100 books about it. I don't believe your story.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When was the last time that you had a milk emergency, Trev, and you had to run out with a child missing in your area, whatever you have going on, and you had to run to the gas station as opposed to the grocery store, so you know you're paying double at least to get milk?
Yeah, never.
Last time I had a milk emergency is when I had children.
Is there even milk in our refrigerator now?
DT goes, is there even milk in our refrigerator now? We have a milk emergency. Okay, so this is when JLR spoke with the Starkey family. And again, they're not exactly salt of the earth people, but they had a lot to say about Sarah and Stacy and that flop house they were running.
Starkey, he's talking about the next door neighbors, Wandra, Stacy and Sarah Wandra. So check this conversation I had out, and then we will discuss.
Hello?
Hi, Carson?
Yes.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jonathan. I'm sure you're aware of what's going on around your house. I'm just wondering what's going on here.
Jonathan who?
I am a reporter, Original Media Group, and I am covering the Michael Vaughn case, and I see a lot of activity outside your house. Can you just confirm with me that you're not – there's people circulating your name online saying that you're possibly involved. Can you just elaborate if you're involved or not, or is this dealing with you and your wife, Dorothy, or is this dealing with what's going on next door to you?
Okay, first of all, I'm not involved with that at all.
Okay, that's
it's
good.
The neighbors. I mean, it might be going on outside my house, but it's the neighbors that are involved.
Do you know anything about your neighbors?
And this is true because people started combing the SO registry in Fruitland. And there was a lot of confusion last year about exactly what house they were searching. And many people thought it was the Starkey home, but it wasn't. And Stacy, if you think that JLR isn't going to find you and talk to you, well, I'll just leave it at that.
You know, I've lived here for 5 years, and I don't hardly talk to anybody in here. I go to work, I come home, and, I don't know. They're just kind of weird people.
Like, what do you mean weird? Have you ever talked to them? Have you ever seen them? Or have you ever seen them going around the neighborhood?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did some mechanicing work for them.
Yeah.
And other than that, went and done a couple taxi runs for her because she couldn't do them all. And other than that, I have nothing at all to do with them.
Do you know what led police to their house?
What led police to their house? Let me think here. I think it was the dogs.
The dogs? What do you mean by dogs? Who's
the cadaver dogs?
Really?
Well, not too long after the kid came up missing, they had dogs because they came over to my house and asked if they could run their dogs through the backyard and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, man. I got nothing to hide,
Yeah.
And
okay, so right there he says they came to his house and they asked if they could run the dogs through the backyard. They didn't come up with anything, but the dogs obviously hit on the Wandra's home because they're not just going to bring in that type of equipment and start taking down fences just in case. Brandy said they used ground penetrating radar in the Starkey's yard. They did not find anything, unlike the Wandras. Yep.
Interesting how that works.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I understand is that they had the dogs and it took them right to their front door.
Oh, really? So that was at the time when he was just reported missing last year?
Yeah.
So what? And then the dogs didn't pick up nothing and then they just left them alone or just...
I don't know, man. I don't get in other people's business. I stick to myself. You know,
Yeah.
I go to work and I work and I come home and I'm pretty much either in the house or over at one of my friends. And but me and Dorothy had nothing at all to do with this crap.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking, because your names are circulating and people are just speculating, and I just want to get that on the record.
I hate to tell Mr. Starkey, but it's not this crap. They've got their own issues. Let me put it that way. YouTube's getting extra picky about things we say on here. Let me put it this way. They have their own issues. I have a feeling they looked the other way. Okay? That is just my feeling. Thank you, Kat. Thank you so much. Kat said, sending all my love. Bring Monkey home. Let's light up the chat. Blue hearts. Bring Monkey home. Be Brandy strong.
That, hey, you guys are not involved with this at all. It's dealing with the Wandras that are next door. That's Sarah and Stacy Wandra, right?
Yeah.
Has anyone else lived there with them?
There's been people that stayed there and lived there with them for, off and on, pretty much the whole time that they've been there.
Yeah. And I know police are out there now, I believe. I think they're going to keep searching. I was just wondering, what led police there now? You just said they went there last year with the cadaver dogs. I'm wondering what brought them back.
Well, you know what? That I don't know. All I know is that the cold case detectives came to my house not too long ago and said they were getting close. And
now the cold case detectives, I'm going to assume, is Chris McDonough and his crew, because as much hate as Chris McDonough gets, he has done amazing work in the case for Monkey and many others. Why do you think he gets so much flack, Trev?
I think it's just jealousy. A lot of people can't say that they've done the things he's done. So instead of trying to be better themselves and do their part, they just try to bring down someone who's actually doing good.
Yeah. And Stacy B would agree with you. She said Chris Sim gets hate because he's good at what he does. So he went to the house. He said the cold case detectives were here and they said, we're getting close. Pretty smart squeezing the neighbor, don't you think?
Hmm?
Chris McDonough ever came to my house, I'd shit a brick.
wanted to know, what was going on. And dude, I don't know nothing. I mean, I barely know him. I say hi to him, bye to him. And I told him I did some mechanic work for him and did a couple taxi runs for her so she can handle them all. And other than that, I have nothing to do with them.
Yeah. What makes you think they're weird? What have you seen them do that's weird?
It's just the way they act and stuff.
Yeah.
And, one day Sarah, is, I guess, kind of normal. And then the next day I come out here, she's sitting in the driveway looking up at the sky telling me that the Lord's coming after her.
Yeah, and I noticed on a lot of her, she has a Facebook, and I was looking at it, and I seen a lot of religious things, a lot of religious postings. But she did that, it seems like, after August of last year.
Just not too long ago, right?
Yeah, I on her Facebook before Michael Vaughn went missing last year, nothing, no postings about religious stuff or anything, and then suddenly, starting into the late summer, fall of last year, it's nonstop religious postings and religious videos.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I mean, I don't know, never got on her Facebook or anything, but I noticed that about the religion stuff because she was trying to preach to me, and I told her, look, man, you go preach to somebody else. I don't want to hear it. I mean, I believe in God and everything, but don't come talking your shit to me.
Yeah. Do you know anything about their taxi business? I saw that they had some sort of taxi business.
Yeah. From what I know is I forget what the first name of it was.
I think it's called Faith Taxi.
Okay. First off, JLR is not going to ask a question he doesn't know the answer to unless he's just trying to get people to talk, okay? I know some people hate on JLR. I personally like him. We don't have to agree. All right. I'm not saying Carson Starkey has anything to do with Michael's disappearance. But for someone that doesn't want to be involved in this crap and just minds his own business, he seems to know a lot. Or am I reaching too far, Trev?
No. I think you're hitting it right on the head.
Because if you don't know, you don't know. I mind my own business. I stay out of that crap. But I did see this, and that. Now, Stacy, you might have been kicked out of the chat, but I hope you're still listening. Let me say why. Because you need to know, while you were in jail, your neighbors, your former in-laws, the people that were living with you have had a lot to say, including Sarah.
And then they changed it over to face taxi.
Yeah.
What? I can't remember what the name of it was when they first started it, but then they changed it over to face taxi. And that was just, not too long after Michael come up missing.
Yeah, I noticed that too. What kind of cars do they have?
She's got either a Mazda or Toyota. I think a Toyota.
Yeah. What about him?
And they've had, pickup trucks.
Now, Brandon mentioned the day that Michael was abducted, they were in a blue Toyota. So it seems to me that the neighbor, of course, you know what your neighbors drive, correct? Do you not? There's no crime in that. And I'm not saying he has anything to do with it. I'm really not trying to put that together. I'm not trying to connect any dots that aren't there. But he did say a Toyota. Brandon said they were in a blue Toyota that day.
Cadillac Avalanche, or not Cadillac Avalanche, but oh God, what's a Cadillac SUV?
Escalade.
Escalade, yeah, Escalade. Yeah, those are the ones that I know of. Matter of fact, I bought one of the cars way before this happened, though.
Yeah.
And Dorothy actually bought it. I went over there and talked to them because they told me they had a car for sale, and I said, well, Dorothy needs one, so how much you want for it? They told me, I paid them, gave the car to Dorothy, but that's the one she's driving right now still. Yeah, those are the ones that I know of. Matter of fact, I bought one of the cars way before this happened, though.
Yeah.
And Dorothy actually bought it. I went over there and talked to them because they told me they had a car for sale, and I said, well, Dorothy needs one, so how much you want for it? They told me, I paid them, gave the car to Dorothy, but that's the one she's driving right now still.
Yeah.
I would love to know if the police have searched the car that Dorothy bought from them, because I just never believed that first time caught is the first time tried. That's just me, though.
Agreed.
And why were they in a... Why? Slim says, I need to know more about Dorothy Starkey's car. Have we ever seen a case where first time caught is the first time it was ever done? Someone gets blown in for a DUI. It's not the first time they drove drunk.
Yeah. Now, have both of them been in jail since the spring, or are they been out? Are they there?
She was here yesterday. I don't know where she's at today.
Oh wow, she was here yesterday. Yeah, according to like the jail records, she was just arrested yesterday. That's what according. So maybe they picked her up yesterday.
Well, they were over here. He was over here, so they probably took her yesterday when they were digging up the backyard.
Oh really? Did you see it when the police came, or?
I didn't see him arrest her or anything. I was at work.
Yeah. But I heard Stacy, her husband, has been in jail since spring.
He called me not too long ago and asked me if he could borrow my BMW for a couple months because thought he was getting out in a couple weeks, and he wanted to borrow one of my cars for a couple months. No, I don't think so.
Oh, really? He called you from jail?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I saw that he got indicted by the FBI or something.
Okay, you have to know somebody pretty well, and I'm not speaking from experience, but to call them from jail and ask for a favor. So I'm going to assume that the Starkeys know the Wandras much better than old Carson is letting on. What are the odds you're calling from jail and your next door neighbor is going to accept the charges? Most of us have numbers in our phones. I remember my phone number growing up. I remember my husband's phone number. Beyond that, I don't know any numbers, but he knew his number.
Yeah. And knew he'd pick up.
Truth to light, you're reading my mind. Said, I'd like to see his wife's car. He said she's still driving it. Crime Analysis 101 with Detective John said he barely knows them, yet he knows his PX. Yeah.
On some gun charges.
Yeah, felon in possession.
Yeah. Well, it's just the whole neighborhood's torn upside down. They're looking for Michael Vaughn. Michael Vaughn's family lived a few blocks away. And they're just trying.
Yeah, I know right where they live. They live right behind one of my friends used to live over there, right behind them.
Oh, I don't think he meant to say that. Carson said, oh yeah, I know right where they live. They live behind one of my friends. Oh, Carson, did you mean to say that? Let's hear that again. Oh, I know right where they live.
It's just the whole neighborhood's torn upside down. They're looking for Michael Vaughn. Michael Vaughn's family lived a few blocks away. And they're just trying.
Yeah, I know right where they live. They live right behind one of my friends used to live over there, right behind them. So I know pretty much. I don't know exactly what house they live in, but I know about where they live.
So at the time when they were.
So he corrected that real quick. He goes from saying, oh yeah, I know exactly where they live. They live behind one of my friends. And he goes, well, he tried to draw it back in. Did you catch that, Trev? Very interesting. Listen to how he phrases it again.
FBI or something on some gun charges.
Yeah, felon in possession.
Yeah. Well, it's just the whole neighborhood's torn upside down. They're looking for Michael Vaughn. Michael Vaughn's family lived a few blocks away. And they're just trying.
Yeah, I know right where they live. They live right behind one of my friends used to live over there, right behind them. So I know pretty much. I don't know exactly what house they live in, but I know about where they live.
So at the time when they were looking for Michael, they were having dogs all around your neighborhood, your street there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, stay optimistic, and thanks for the information on these Wandras. Do you know their parents? Who owns the house? Is that her mom and dad that own the house?
Yeah.
guess
Matter of fact, her mom and dad were on vacation not too long ago, and this is when she got thrown in the loony bin the first time. And called me up and asked me if I'd go check on the cats and make sure they got food and everything. And I told him, you know what? I don't want to go in the house. Nobody's there. I don't want to go in there. Have somebody else do it.
Oh, so Sarah was in a loony bin.
Yeah.
How many?
Twice.
Twice. Oh wow. When was that?
Yeah, they came and picked her up and took her to either Idaho Falls, I think, or Idaho City, Idaho Falls, to some wacky place over there. And then she got out, and I think the next day or the day after, they came and picked her up again.
Oh wow. When was that?
Just not too long ago.
Now, how did he know she was in, as he so eloquently calls it, the loony bin? Did they knock on his door and say, hey, we're going to take old Sarah to the loony bin? No, I don't think that's what happened. I think he knows these people well. I think he knows them well. Tiffany, great point. He may know more, but they dug up his stuff already. They used ground penetrating radar. So I need someone to tell me where Michael was taken to, period. I have a feeling he might know a little more. Okay, a very lucky lady said, close enough to trust to go in the house. When she's in the loony bin, they trusted him to go in the house. But according to him, he didn't do it. Go ahead, Trev. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're fine. I think that seems like he does know them. And I think what happened in this interview was he tried to ride the line between distancing himself, but also giving some juicy information because he was on the phone with a reporter. And he completely failed at riding that line because he exposed that he definitely knows them. And he backtracked again on the location of the Vaughn's house because he said he knew it was in the area, but then he backed off. He even said the street. He said, I know where their house is. Well, it's one of those houses. Well, I know the street. He backed off all the way to knowing what street they live on. And so to me, it seems like he is trying to distance, but at the same time trying to give information. But while doing that, he screwed himself.
And he tried to backtrack, but it doesn't matter because the authorities already have this interview. Now, he has not been named as a suspect. He has not been named at all. The only people that have been named as suspects are Sarah, Stacy, Adrian, and Brandon. I honestly, considering who else was at the home, I'm not going to be surprised if we don't hear of more suspects. Do you think we're going to hear of more people, Trevor? Opinion only.
I think it's definitely possible. Whoever talks first, I think that'll really decide that. When they start saying names and tying certain things to certain names, then more may be uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
3-4 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it seems like there's a lot of things going on after Michael went missing, with the religious stuff and the odd behaviors. And like you just said, the loony bin stuff and him being arrested earlier in the year. Do you know, did they fight in the springtime? What was that arrest about? They both got arrested.
I couldn't tell you, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they both got arrested. Now, are all the animals still in that house?
They did both get arrested. Matter of fact, Sarah put this up. Having a hubby and wifey moment. Love you, Bowie Bear. You are so handsome. I can't wait till our anniversary, if God allows us to make it. God bless you, babe. Well, God didn't allow you, because guess what? You both got arrested. God didn't allow it. Bowie Bear.
Or is anybody living there now?
Well, Sarah was living here until yesterday, I guess.
Yeah. And I noticed on Facebook she had a bunch of cats and dogs, or cats, at least many cats.
Yes, there was 5 cats over there.
Did they have any kids together?
No.
No. All right. Well, stay optimistic. Thanks.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Are you the one that put my face and stuff on Facebook?
No, that wouldn't be me.
Somebody did.
No, I don't know. There's a lot of your name.
They were investigating me and Dorothy.
Yeah, people are at this time. No one knows what's going on, so people are just speculating, right? They're just throwing out names of people around the area that it could be, and this is a fluid situation. That's why I'm reporting on this.
Right, but why put me on Facebook saying I'm being investigated when I'm not being investigated?
Yeah, maybe you should go out there and talk to the media and just go on the record and just say, hey, this has nothing to do with us. These are these next door neighbors, and we're not involved in any way, and then people will just focus on, them instead.
Well, they know who did it now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they haven't found Michael yet. Do you think Michael's back there?
You know what, man? I couldn't tell you. Like I said, I really don't know them except for, the mechanic work I did.
The truth is, Mr. Starkey was concerned about being trolled on Facebook because, well, his picture is online as an RSO. When you are on that registry, you are not supposed to be on social media. Unless the rules are different in Idaho, I don't know. But I know around my neck of the woods, if you are an RSO, and I'm sure it's the same in Idaho, you're not supposed to be on Facebook, Twitter. You're not supposed to. Snapchat.
As Facebook has their own rule against it, because I've had multiple accounts taken down where I've seen RSOs on there, and you just report it, you show proof that they're registered, and they take them off.
Yep. Let me see if he still has his account up. Hang on. And no, I'm not gonna blow him in or anything. I'm curious. Hang on. Person Starkey. No. Nope. Yep. There he is. Yep. Lives in Fruitland, Idaho. Unless someone else did it, but no, that looks like him. Yep. Yeah, he's still on there.
A couple of taxi runs I did for her, and other than that, I do not know them at all.
Have you ever seen him?
Okay, Carson, I'm very uncomfortable with this. You don't hardly know him. But you were trusted to go in their house when she went to the loony bin. Okay. You did taxi runs for them. And you know exactly where the Vaughn family lives. If your next neighbor, Trev, said, hey, can you do some taxi runs for me? You'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and if they ask me that, I suddenly wouldn't know all this other information about them. I wouldn't suddenly become knowledgeable about all these other things. Like I said, if he wanted to stay distance, when he answered the phone, he should have said, I don't know them. I would not like to talk to you. Bye. You can't go, I don't know them, and then go on for 10 minutes and tell us how you know them. And then at the end say, I don't know them.
I don't know them, but I did some taxi runs for them. Her mother, who owns the house, called me to watch the cats while she was in the loony bin. But I didn't want to go in the house by myself because no one's there. I have a feeling that's not true. Because the cats didn't starve to death now, did they? So who gave him the key to the house? Her parents were on vacation. Sounds to me like he had a key to the house.
And every time in these situations where they say someone called, that means someone had the other person's phone number. I mean, you don't just type in and hope that you type in a few numbers and hope it's them. Somebody exchanged a phone number in this time.
Boom, Trev. And not only was that phone number known, it was familiar in Stacy's head because he called him from jail. They also sold a car to Dorothy at a ridiculously cheap amount. It was almost a giveaway. Why? Was it taking up room in the driveway? They don't care. They run a flop house. I'm most concerned about him saying, I know exactly where they live. What's most concerning to you about this, Trev?
I think it's the same. I think it's also the fact that he's close enough with them that they're exchanging keys and phone numbers, yet he has a reason he wants to distance from them. And I mean, I get why with everything that's going on, but why release this information and say that he didn't directly say, they gave me a key to the house or they gave me a phone number or I gave them my phone number. But if we're drawing these conclusions, you think the FBI is not sitting up there going, that's interesting. So that's what it was to me is he's putting all this information out and then at the same time trying to act like he doesn't have the information. You can't play both sides of the fence.
I barely know him, but I bought a car from him. I was asked by her mother to go check on the cats. Oh, yeah, he called me from jail. I did some taxi runs for him. Oh, I know exactly where the Vaughns live. A friend of mine lives behind them. The first time I talked to Brandy, I think the first show we did about Michael was in February or March of 2022. And she had for a while had this feeling that somebody was watching them. But when we have a feeling like that, we don't want to look crazy, But she just had something was giving her a strange feeling. How do we know that the friend that lives right behind them wasn't following their every move, saying, "Hey, I'd like to know more about the friend," because we don't know.
Have you ever seen them fight with one another?
I've seen them yell at each other. I heard them yell at each other. I didn't see it, but I've heard them yell at each other, when they were leaving or coming back or something. I don't know what it was. I've never seen them literally fight.
Yeah. Has the cops ever came there prior for anything?
Not that I think of. I mean, I'm hardly ever here. I'm usually at work, so if they did, I don't know about it.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Carson, thank you for your time. Be safe, and I hope this all turns out well and Michael is found.
Man, me too. I can't imagine what his mom goes through every day going to work at Albertsons and seeing it.
He knows where Brandy works. You can't tell me somebody wasn't watching this family. I can't imagine what his mom is going through. Going to work every day at Albertsons.
He's an idiot. I mean, beyond everything else, he's just stupid. Why keep talking? Why? I mean, great that he got this interview. I'm saying from his perspective, you just keep going. Like, just keep digging. Like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Tell you what, if Tyler heard that, you can't tell me they weren't keeping tabs on this family. It's all coming together like Snow said. How in the hell people that live on the other side of the neighborhood, you say, I know exactly where they live. I can't imagine how she goes to work every day and names her place of employment.
Not that I think of. I mean, I'm hardly ever here. I'm usually at work, so if they did, I don't know about it.
Someone's always at work, are they not? Oh, I'm always at work. I don't know anything except for he called me from jail. I was asked to check on their cats. I obviously have a key to their house. Oh, I bought a car from him. And I know exactly where the Vaughns live because a friend of mine lives right behind them. Oh, and I don't know how she goes to work every day and names where she works. Thank you, Mama She, for the super sticker. I came in super late trying to catch up. I just wanted to say love to all and much love to Brandy. Absolutely. Thank you. All right, Trev. You're going to have to fill this in for me because my brain is going a million miles a minute. Help me out, Trev.
Oh, wish it made sense. Like I said, he came into the interview immediately off the jump. I don't really know them, distancing himself. Then he starts saying, oh, well, I'm talking to the press. Let me get some information in there. Starts adding in what he knows. So I only knew them from one or two things. Okay. Then you know them from this, that, and the other. Well, now phone numbers were exchanged. House keys were exchanged. Okay, so now you're telling us you know them. You could say 100 times, I don't know them, but you show us you know them. It's the whole thing of actions speak louder than words. His actions were getting the phone numbers, having the keys, going to their house apparently, all this stuff. Your words mean nothing now. Then you want to tell us you know where Brandy works, and you don't expect us to have a billboard-sized red flag out here going, why the heck do you know that?
There's a ton of red flags with all of these people. And I have to say it again. Carson and Dorothy have not been named suspects. There is nothing like that. And I am not, again, I would never get in the way of law enforcement and try to connect dots that aren't there. And I know I'm going to get some stuff in comments going, but you do it with Summer Wells all the time. Well, they're suspects, okay? Big T said, like Chris McDonough said, there's a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Carson, thank you for your time. Be safe, and I hope this all turns out well and Michael is found.
Man, me too. I can't imagine what his mom goes through every day going to work at Albertsons and seeing his face, all posters everywhere, and that's got to be fucking heartbreaking. That would kill me.
Do you know them?
I don't.
No.
I don't, but I could just imagine, what she's going through, and having to see his face in people's yards, on billboards, and every story she goes into.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole town got. Yeah,
like the fucking hard to hell for her.
Yeah.
And him.
He wants to comfort Brandy and Tyler. You lived next door to the Wandras all that time. He wants to comfort them. He keeps saying it must be hard. It must be hard. Sounds to me like he's hard. Sounds to me like he's getting off on this. But again, that's just my opinion.
So the whole neighborhood knows about this case going on.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
They've probably been over here for 2 days.
Oh, they've been over there for 2 days. Yeah, I saw them blocking off the street there, right next door to you. All right, stay safe. Have a great day. Thanks, Mr. Carson.
Holy bat crap. Well, Carson, since your name comes up quite a bit and you seem to have a little bit of guilty knowledge, is what it seems like. And we know Stacy's trying to catch up because, well, he's outside of jail now. Maybe this will help you a little bit in doing the right thing. Maybe, but I don't know.
What is that, monkey? Bear. What is that? Hi.
Hi, Bear.
Hi, Bear. Hi, baby.
All right, where'd you go? Oh, he went back the other way.
Hi, Dad.
Did you get that? Did you get that? This family is looking for their son. Unlike some families like Harmony Montgomery, Summer Wells, they have worn their feet to the bone. The posters, the flyers that Carson is so eloquently speaking about were probably put up by the family themselves. Matter of fact, this picture right here They left that flyer there. Uh-huh. I mean, what can you even say to that? What can you even say? Hang on, I have to find. I didn't mean to click out of it. I apologize. Hang on. I need to put this in chat right here. Britt, everybody, a lot of people want to go back through this interview. It's on JLR. I just put the link in. And I think JLR has done, I think he did a great job talking to them. A great job. So where are we going with this now, Trev? I know you're going to start talking about Michael on your channel. You just, you wanted all your ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And, the more the merrier. I do understand that some people are saying that Brandy is saying not to share Michael's picture. That's all she's ever asked for. The only thing she asked is when you're talking about another case, don't confuse her son's case with that case. It's a very simple request, but that's all right. That's okay.
No, if you can't respect the wishes of somebody who's going through what Brandy is, then you shouldn't be not only in this case, but any kind of true crime, because you clearly have no moral compass, or it's completely broken and been run over by a truck.
100%. 100%. Maybe they could look at this. I mean, maybe this might, since Carson said he couldn't imagine being them, and he just wants to comfort Brandy, he goes, and him. I'm assuming he means Tyler. Yeah. They're in immense pain. They're in a world of hurt. Look at this.
Oh, it's open. Uh-oh. Stick.
Put his card.
I'm his right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monkey can be so happy. Yeah.
You gonna tell him happy birthday?
Happy birthday. We're gonna go Monkey house. We're gonna go Monkey house today. We're gonna get on. Let's go Monkey house and get these for Monkey. These are like Monkey. Monkey will be so happy.
He'll be very happy, won't he?
We're gonna go Monkey house. Please, please, please. Monkey from now.
I want to go to Monkey's house, she said. How could you? How could you? You're out now, Stacy. Adrian's out. Brandon's out. How could you? You have two choices. You have jail and you have hell. What is it going to be? Choose correctly, because jail's going to be a lot nicer than a red hot poker in your ass in hell. God doesn't look kindly on people that hurt children. What is the scripture, Trev?
The Lord says that anyone who does anything to a child, different versions, different wording, should have a millstone tied around their neck and be thrown in the sea.
Brandy said she talks to Michael every day. She leaves him presents every day. How could you? How could you? The hell's wrong with you? is wrong with you? (208-642-6006). They got all day to talk to you, 3. They got all day to talk to you. They got all day. They'll clear their schedule just for you. That is how important you all are. You are so important. They need you. The family needs you. Michael needs you to talk. How you like that? These are busy, busy people, and they will clear their day. They will talk to you. Yes, they will. I don't care if they're having a retirement dinner for someone. They'll clear their whole day for you, Stacy, for you, Brandon, for you, Adrian. And I bet they would probably take Carson and Dorothy's call, but that's just my guess. All right, guys, this has been a great show. I want to give a huge round of applause to our friend Trevor, who's always on the right side for the victims. This was a very important show for everyone, especially in the Fruitland area, to know that Stacey Wandra is out. Go ahead, Trev. I did not mean to cut you off. That is such a bad habit of mine.
No, you're fine. I just, before we get off, and you and everybody in the chat has been saying it, and the whole line of, how could you? And what's been said with me since we started the show is accountability. When you commit, whoever, when it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them, and they're out there, and if you hear me, listen to this. Accountability is taking action, taking accountability for your actions. Now, what's happening is there's a family in Fruitland, Idaho that is bearing the brunt of what you did every day and every night. They are sitting there having to live with what you did because not only are you a monster, you're a coward, and you can't pick up the phone and make what you did known to those who need to know. So if you take one thing away from everything you hear, it's that you need to pick up that phone and put this to an end, because you're making this family live through hell because of your bullshit. Stand up and take accountability for what you did, because you are monsters. They are not, and they're living with what you did. Fix it. Sorry, I've been fired up. Had to get it out.
No. You did wonderful.
Preach, Trev.
DT saying, preach, Trev, because you're right. Go off, Trev. You're right.
It's just sick. I hate we sit here and Brandy and Todd, they're fighting every single day for their son, doing every single thing they can, all for these people, however many of them it is, we don't know, who did this, are sitting there getting to do what they want. While this family sits here and fights like hell to get their son back, when people out there know exactly where their son is and won't say a word. Cowardice. I can't stand it.
Weak.
DT said they're weak. Do you want to be considered a monster? Do you want to be considered a weak person? You've already been named as a suspect. You have nothing to lose. Well, except for your freedom. But that's okay. You're dangerous to society. Suds even said it. You can make an anonymous call. Brandy said, thank you, Brooks, Trevor, and everyone here. Please keep sharing Michael's beautiful face. And never forget, Monkey is coming home. We love you, Michael Joe. We will never give up. Look at this, Stacy. Which one?
That one. That one's for Monkey, and that one for me.
That's for you. We better keep him safe, okay?
Okay. I see a Wilming.
Bloom?
Yeah. Me and that monkey car.
And what do you see if you see monkey's car?
Yeah. And he's that way or that way. Now which way?
You like that one?
He's getting closer.
Oh, Marshmallow.
You're sad about Monkey?
I am very sad about Monkey, my love.
Yeah, me too. I miss him.
I miss him so
Hey,
much.
let's draw him a picture.
Yeah, let's draw him pictures. More pictures? Lots of them? Okay.
Yeah, let's throw a picture at him and put it on the sidewalk. He see it.
Yeah.
I make a sign for him. I make a mermaid. He loves mermaids.
He loves mermaids. Okay. All right, well, let's go get the chalks. Mommy's got to go get them. Well, I knew it wasn't going to take too long and I would break down. I always do in this show. I think about what Brandy said when she addressed Brandon. And she said, "How dare you? How dare you? How dare you?" The hell are you thinking? How depraved does a person have to be to watch this family for who knows how long? And it's all going to come out. Everything comes out in the wash. Everything does. Truth always comes to light. It's all going to come out. You want to be the hero or the zero? That's on you. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. I want to thank you so much for the new members, the donations to the channel, growing the family, keeping Michael's name out there. Thank you so much. Again, thank you to Trevor. Thank you to the Mod Squad because, well, we know we had a couple of people in here that weren't exactly here to support Michael Vaughn. But Mod Squad's always quick and they know how to keep it classy and keep it cool, just like all of you. You guys are the absolute best. You're the best chat, and you are the best community on the tube streets. So I will, again, here I'm going to post this again so you can catch JLR's interview. I think we're going to have to go through it again because I know how you guys are going to dissect and go through it, and we're going to have another conversation about it. I can't shake the feeling, love you too, Sal, that Carson might know just a little bit more than I barely know him. But I'm glad to know you. And I'm so glad that you guys are here and you're on the right side of the victims. And Kamari is back. She has been out of the country for quite a while, and I'm so happy when I saw her name pop up. Let's welcome back Kamari. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. I think we're actually going to have 2 shows tomorrow. You never know. You never know. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day, a very blessed Wednesday, and I will see you back here tomorrow.